Yes. Brown, good morning. In terms of enrollment on the Baptist campus, in my short tenure on this board, I have gotten more phone calls, more inquiries about this space, perhaps than any other. When is the last time we have seen overall, I'm not talking about first-time freshmen, I'm talking about the next piece of how we're doing that, but inclusive of all, when is the last time on the Baptist campus that we've seen an increase in enrollment? I like that.
I think Raymond Clark is there. He could maybe
Raymond Clark is also here.
Raymond, you want to come up and
Good morning.
Good morning.
I believe the question was, when was the last time there was an actual increase? It would have been fall I can verify this, but I really do.
Overall increase in enrollment, yes, overall. And since that time, we have seen overall our enrollment decrease, and that's, I guess, based on the number of factors.
Yes, sir, that's correct.
And so what would you say the primary factor is as to why we are either not retaining our students or attracting new students?
Well, you're correct. It's actually a combination. Our efforts to retain students have been a challenge, partly because there are some constraints on the academic side, but there are also some constraints on the recruiting side as it pertains to having the appropriate funding to attract talented students. So, resource challenges, and therefore, we're trying to make the most of what we have available to us, to not only attract but retain students.
So when you say we have constraints on the academic side, give me 2 examples of what that means. What does that look like?
Holistically, generally students who have an interest in coming to college are looking for some sort of guarantee or assurance that the classes that they take, the degrees that they earn, marketable once they earn the degree. I think at times we have certain majors that are dominated in terms of the best suited for the clientele that we have. Nursing is highly popular, so is the College of Engineering and Business. But we also have some other fields of study that aren't as popular per se. And because of that, we run into challenges where students don't meet the academic criteria coming in order to get into the prospective areas, but we also still wanted to succeed. So I believe that some of the academic support that we may be in a position to provide, we have not always been in a position to provide that based on the caliber of students entering our freshman class.
So knowing that reality, what's the plan to address it?
Well, it's an ongoing plan. I don't want to speak out of turn.
Do you think the plan is working?
We have made some progress in some areas, but to say that there's
give me 2 examples where you made progress.
The progress would be reflected in the number of new communications that we actually make available to students, identifying at-risk students, the number of contacts that they have with advisors. I think that is a step in the right direction and reflects a plan of our division and the entire university's commitment to matriculate students successfully.
And I know this is terribly put you on the spot, which is not my intention. Dr. Brown, who in the organization chart that you supervise is responsible for this work?
I wish that there was an answer to that question. Prior to my arrival, the academics units.
No, I'm talking in terms of recruitment enrollment management, that's state.
That's the answer to your question. None of those fall under academic affairs. All of those are under enrollment, management, student affairs. And so there's a split.
And who's responsible for that state here at the university?
Dr. Dumas is vice chancellor for student affairs and enrollment.
So he's responsible.
We work together.
I mean, does he answer to you?
No, he
Is he
answers.
here today?
No, sir. He answers Dr. Dumas.
So he doesn't answer to you?
No.
Well, I'm not finished.
Welcome to the
And this may be an unfair question, Dr. Elton, and Dr. Brown, but I'm going to ask it. I mean, I hear a lot of answers to the questions regarding this. And this is not directed to the government as a program. But far too often the answers change based on the person, the location. And at some point, we got to get to the bottom of this because this enrollment piece is the lifeblood of the university. And if we don't fix it, look, we're getting nowhere really fast. And so my question is, and perhaps being a president is but are you confident that we are benefiting from the best and brightest thinking with the folks that we have here at the university? Do we have the right people in the right seat on the bus to do this?
Yeah, yes, there is this, there is the reality that in many cases, no matter how hard that staff, no matter their investment, if we don't have sufficient resources to really to ensure that departments could be successful, no matter their investment, they will not be successful. So let me back up a little bit because I think it's important to understand when the SUBR campus and SUNO began to experience decline in enrollment. And that decline in enrollment aligned with the policy set forth with the GRAD Act that established limited admission standards for regional institutions in the state of Louisiana. Upon the enactment of those policies, both SUNO and the SUBR campus began to gradually decline, their enrollment began to gradually decline and has since continued to decline as a result of that. So let's put that in context because that policy is different that we're being guided by now is not a policy that other HBCUs across the southern region are impacted by. So we're trying to navigate in terms of appealing to students to come to Southern University based on a limited pool of students who are eligible to attend Southern, Baton Rouge, and New Orleans. So let's put that in context. The other thing that we're trying to do now is to, and I think the effort this morning speaks to this, is that we have taken on the position that we cannot be everything to everybody, and that we're going to have to strategically invest in programs that are marketable, that really have the potential of defining Southern University. And the MOU to which we talked about today is seeking assistance from LED, the Workforce Commission, that would enable us to align our programs with the support of those agencies, monitor support as well, to help us align our curricula with 4- and 5-star jobs that really attract students to this enterprise. And you're going to find that we are going to do the appropriate assessment as relates to the inventory that we have now, and, and again, invest in those programs and establish new programs that have the potential of appealing to more students to come to the university. The things that we're doing now include, and what we've been talking about, which is reestablishing a platform for online instruction that would enable the university to attract adult learners to the campus. So there is a laundry list of things that we're doing now to rethink methods of increasing our enrollment. But I would dare say that continue to invest in recruitment and enrollment management, trying to work with the Board of Regents and the legislature to give this board more authority, if you will, to revisit this question of admission standards. Those things are important for this university system in terms of allowing us the wherewithal to fulfill our enrollment goals.
Mr. Chairman, I have one question and 2 points. Before I address, thank you for the thorough response, Dr. Belton. 2 things I take from that. One, the resource challenge, as Dr. Clark said.
Yeah.
Note to file, we're going to be resource challenged for a while in this environment. Yeah. So we're going to have to figure it out. That's number one. Number 2, I heard you say limited number of eligible students, which is why I think, and I made this comment at the alumni retreat or regional meeting a couple of years ago, that I think sometimes we become too focused on students who can barely get in, if you will, and less focused on our top achievers. And so somehow or another, we're going to have to position ourselves. And if I'm wrong, I stand to be corrected. Give me the data. But that's why I'm glad to see Elder Jackson here and others who give leadership to the top JAG program, where we're not settling, but we are actually presenting ourselves as an attractive option for kids who are top level. All right? And I haven't seen that. I'm going to be, I don't even know other way to be it, other than to deal with you and my colleagues with integrity. That's just the way I see it. But I hope I'm wrong. I hope I am. I hope there is a plan in place, and I hope we've got the best and brightest working on this. But I have not seen that. Now, can somebody tell me, this is my final question, what is the number of full-time undergraduate students that we have on the Baptist campus today?
4,200 and 4,018 today. 4,237 last semester. Look at your front page of this one, Mr. West.
Okay. Thank you. 4,000 undergraduate students on the Baptist campus. I think that speaks volumes. Okay.
I recognize Mr. Condon. Part of what you're saying as a member of the board is one of the things I saw when I first came with regards to the number of students that we have here on campus. And to that effect, I know our administration has gone through some changes. And we are, I should say, trending in the right direction. On last spring, we were on course to have one of the largest classes for incoming freshmen here at the university. Because of a couple of things that happened this past summer, it hurt our enrollment. We had over 7,000 people having interest in coming to Southern University. And out of that 7,700, there were 1,800 enrolled early. And you know, over 100,000 homes in this area were affected by the flood. And in essence, that actually hurt our recruitment, it hurt our enrollment, and it's reflected in the numbers that we see here today. Okay, well, I'm building to a point, okay, because what you're saying is correct, and it needs to be addressed. And there are options that we can use
as a board, if we can adopt it, that we can change the numbers that you see on the paper that we do. And that's what I'm really going to speak to. I spoke with the president of the Congressional Black Caucus, for the Black Caucus, Legislative Black Caucus. And he spoke with me and said that he passed a resolution through the Education Board that will allow us an opportunity to have open enrollment at this university. Dr. Belton spoke earlier with regards to the GRAD Act, which we're no longer under. The GRAD Act was self-imposed. We set limits of up to 20% on the ACT. We went back to the Board of Regents a few years ago and had that lowered to 17. Now, as it reflected in the numbers that we have, we're trending in the right direction. As of now, it may not look like it on paper. On yesterday, had an opportunity, me and Dr. Gaines had an opportunity to go to a Sussler Connect meeting with the campuses of SUNO and not SUNO, but Sussler and SUBR. And one of the things that we spoke about was making the acceptance letter. While we have 7,000 students that have an interest in coming to this university, what happens is they get a letter stating that they're rejected. But they're also Dr. Clark and Dr. Brown. And we spoke of changing that acceptance letter to let folks know that if you want to come to Southern University, there's no limit on it. Even though we have the 17 ACT score right now, there's no limit because there's Sussler Connect that says that you can't come to Southern. But I think in the lettering that's been stated, it says that you are rejected. And many of these are 17 and 18-year-old students. And what happens is they figure they can't come to Southern. They don't know that they got to call back and initiate another form of communication to get into the school. So we brought a proposal on yesterday, and we said, Dr. Brown, that we would look to make it to where the university would say, you've been accepted to the Southern University system. Now, the ball is going to be in the court of the students because at this point, it's going to allow them, if they have the interest to come to Southern, to say, either you're going to qualify as SUBR, Sussler, or the Sussler Connect program. But we want everybody to come in. What you're seeing is what we've been faced with for years here. Prior to me being here, we want every student, this university to set up a mission to serve the underprivileged in our community. And I would hope that our administration, our president, our board, and us as a whole can come together and look to moving toward an open enrollment system to where all students are able to come in. Dr. Brown mentioned this also. We had the grade first, we said it at the last board meeting. It's something that helps us with retention. We get people that come here, but they leave because there's nobody to monitor them. We spent in excess of $200,000 to $300,000, correct? Okay, well, whatever it is, but we have a system in place moving in the fall that can be effective to help us address these concerns that we have here. So there's a plan in place, but it takes time to kind of get to it. We have a new administration, a new provost here with a year under his belt, and I think moving forward, we are trending in the right direction, but we need to come together and take the limits off of it. That's what I have to say there. Thank you. Thank you. Okay.
I pick up where you left off. A new provost with a year under his belt, and now he's looking for a new home. Where's the stability? Well, let me finish. I didn't cut you off. Let me finish. So I think Mr. Rutledge is spot on. At 4,000, we're just 19 students from being in the 3,000 student range, and then it's going to progressively get worse and worse. I believe this administration, who's finally getting its legs under it, has to take a stronger role against gentlemen like this guy at the podium up there, this gentleman at the podium, financial aid, and the rest of it, because that's where your problem lies. So we can keep sitting here, Mr. Pondell, and painting this rosy scenario while Rome is burning. This is the Titanic, and all you're doing is rearranging the furniture on it. So let's now change our perspective. Let's adopt whatever he's talking about. Let's put some measures so that we can move this school in a progressive.
If you would have heard what I said, Mr. Clayton, I'm giving us options so we can move forward with a plan to increase enrollment here and to retain students. I'm not taking anything away from what he's saying. There are things in place right now. If we come together as a board with open enrollment, which has already been gone through the legislature, that we can increase enrollment here. That's what I'm saying. And that's what we want. We want more students to come to Southern and to graduate from here. And we have things that are being set up right now to address it. With Sussler Connect, 7,000 students and we get 1,800.
I understand. You
Yeah,
sound
so
like
they-
President Trump to me. I'm just telling you.
No,
It's
it's
right.
not. But there are things that can be done, and it's gonna take us being bold to get it done.
Excuse me. I don't want to beat a dead horse, but I know time is well spent. But one of the things is that I've been in another university with the same scenario with selective admission. And what it did was successful. We got all hands on deck. All of the deans, every chair, and faculty and student came on deck and recruited statewide and got the numbers. We all want to have to sell the product of Southern University. And we got to have all hands on deck. I'm not disagreeing with anything that anybody said, but that's what I have to say about that. That's all I got to say.
Thank you very much. This discussion does head someplace. And I think all the comments that we've heard collectively point to a simple need. And that is obviously to re-examine the recruitment strategy that we have on this campus. But should obviously be expanded to include, be more inclusive, to involve more parties, more officials, more people across the different institutions. But we are missing the mark on the competitive edge. We're trying to attract students above the margin that we've been playing about. And the only way we're going to be able to do that is to become competitive. So in light of your observations, Mr. Rutledge, this strategy is going to have to employ utilizing, for example, our foundation, our alumni, and others, to be also more involved in the planning of that strategy and in the retooling of that strategy and in identifying the resources. Since we know what young people need or what they want, we've just got to figure out where we're going to get it. We've got to go out specifically to get it in order to be offered. But if you think kids are just going to sit on the sideline and just say, I'm going to come to Southern, it won't happen that way. And we've tried different little things over the years, and apparently we've had marginal success, but not wide enough, not broad enough. So I'm going to suggest that we consider, Madam Chair, a revisitation of what our strategies are on all of our campuses to be explored at this next retreat that you're going to call it, and to have a presentation from all of our campuses on those strategies. And let's dedicate an ample amount of time to that. And then secondly, to call upon representatives from our foundation, from our alumni, and any other sources that can help us identify the material things we need to go with the academic decisions that need to be made. In the input, I heard suggestions about the deans and others and our chancellors, but it's not excluding one. Maybe this next retreat we're talking about ought to focus a good deal of time on this question of our future. And of course, recruitment goes to the heart of that matter. But if we don't get the schools the resources, we're not fighting this fight on a competitive basis. We need to know what those things are. And we need to know what the academy sees as its limitations for being able to get the message across. That's equally as important. That's my comment. Ms. Franklin?
I agree with everything that's being said. I'm speaking now from a student perspective and especially a current student perspective. I agree with everything being said about recruitment, But my question is, what do we do to keep students here? It really doesn't matter how much you recruit if half the class is gone by Christmas time. I think something about the morale here needs to change, because when I leave Southern, the first thing people are asking me is, how was your experience there? Like, that's the best way we recruit, is to actually give firsthand experience as a student on how you were treated, what you went through, and things like that here. So yes, I agree recruiting is important, but the retention is even more important, because you're more likely to speak on how well and how much you love the institution you were at when your experience here was actually worthwhile. So that's kind of my 2 cents on that.
Thank you. I know I said that was my last question. Dr. Davis, that is not my response to you. I just wanted to know.
You